Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's NAA iSeries webinar. I'm Brandy McGrath-Kong with the National Auctioneers Association, and I would like to thank you for joining us for today's newest iSeries installment. iSeries is a free informational webinar series produced by the NAA in order to share auction industry knowledge and insight with NAA members and the general public. We are excited to present today's session on branding, but before we do, we want to share a little bit more about the NAA with you. Headquartered in Overland Park, Kansas, NAA is the world's largest association dedicated to auction professionals and represents the interest of thousands of auction professionals in the United States and across the world. NAA provides educational programming and resources to help members advance themselves professionally. Among those resources is iSeries, and today's session will be presented by Craig Fleming. Craig grew up in the auction business in Atkinson, Nebraska with his Hall of Fame parents, Dean and Jean Fleming. Over the past 20 years, Mr. Fleming has been the CEO and president of several major corporations, including chairman, CEO, and president of the Thomas Kincaid Company, where he built the largest art publishing business in the world. He's currently the CEO-president of Service Quest Global, a worldwide management consulting firm that mentors and coaches management teams and owners on how to build multi-million and billion-dollar companies. Craig is the current president of the Florida Auctioneers Association and has appeared on 60 Minutes with Morley Safer. He is also actively involved in his local community, the arts, and various philanthropic and business ventures, and lives with his wife, Kelly, in Orlando, Florida. Now, before the presentation begins, please note that you may take part in the conversation. Type and submit your questions at any time during the presentation, and we will get to as many as we are able during the brief Q&A period. After that, we'll also ask you to please take part in very short 3-question polls. With that, Craig, thank you and welcome.
Well, thank you and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the call today. What an exciting time to be in the auction business and to be a professional auctioneer. The name of the webinar today is Auction Sales, Developing Your Personal Brand. So the purpose for today's call is to help you understand, build, and promote your own personal brand. So what is it? Your personal brand is your reputation, which is defined by your character. Your personal brand is your image. It is the way others see you and remember you through your actions, through your expertise, and through your emotional connections. So let's talk about what is the right image for you. So is it a formal presentation like this type of a picture, or is it casual? It really depends on your audience and whom you're targeting with your services. Oh my gosh, look at this. Here's Ringo Starr. Everybody knows Ringo. We all know him as a Beatle. He always wore sunglasses. He flashes the peace sign wherever he goes, and he does it even to this day. Muhammad Ali was known as the heavyweight champion of the world, and his famous saying, "I am the greatest." Here's country singer Tim McGraw. Without his hat, you'd probably never recognize him. And how about this guy, Willie Nelson, singer. He's known for his hair, his bandana, and of course, his music, and of course, the fact that he smokes pot. Here's a classic image of Roy Orbison, known for his dark sunglasses and big black hair, and of course, the song, Pretty Woman. How about Billy Graham, the evangelist, the preacher? He had a powerful personal brand for the work that he did in his life. All of these people were recognizable. They're unique. They're different. They stand out from the crowd, and they have a very strong personal brand. In the auction industry, Spanky Asseter has a strong personal brand. Not only is he a famous auctioneer and IAC champion, but he also wears his sunglasses on his forehead. Now here's Chad Cracker Johnson. He uses his middle name as part of his personal branding. How many people do you know named Cracker? You rarely see him without a hat on, and again, this is all part of his personal branding. Now we all know Myers Jackson with his giant gavel, his black hat, his message as America's auctioneer, his script signature name, his television appearances, and his photography. No one auctioneer does personal branding better than Myers Jackson. Here's Sarah Rose Bittner, International IAC champion. Here's Beth Rose, International Auctioneers champion. We all know her as Sarah's mom. What a dynamic duo in the auction business. So remember this, you are the message. Building a personal brand is first understanding and identifying your best characteristics so you know what to build upon. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. So think about what makes you memorable. See, part of personal branding is becoming known for something. What are you known for? What makes you different? What are you an expert in? What can be maybe best in the world? What are you really passionate about? With that insight, it's time to build a personal profile. So a good place to start with several examples is on a website called about.me. Explore this site and begin to build yourself a nice profile. I did it this afternoon, took about 15 minutes. It's that simple. Now let's talk about authenticity. Personal branding is all about authenticity, and you need to define yourself before you can market yourself authentically. Here's an about.me profile of Lacey Morissetti. It's very professional and laid out in a very crisp and clean manner. Now, here's the good news. As a professional auctioneer, you are already a very memorable person. Your chant makes you unique, and that fact alone helps you stand out in America today, especially in your own individual communities. So ask yourself these questions. Do I fit in or stand out as an auctioneer? What do I specialize in or have an area of expertise? Your answer can't be, I do everything, or you'll lose credibility almost instantly. The old saying, a jack of all trades and a master of none, sure does apply today. Ask yourself, what can I do that few others know how to do? You have a unique set of experiences, life experiences, and personal traits that create the foundation for determining your niche. Maybe it's purebred cattle. Maybe it's antiques, real estate, machinery, horses, fundraising, art. The point here is you have to be differentiating yourself from everyone else. If you're just like everyone else in your market, you're a commodity and you look like the same to your customer. If your target market discerns nothing special about you, it's easy for the customer to pass you by. Maybe you can start by developing a tagline or a brand promise. Take a look at Nike. Only 3 words. Just do it. How about Apple? Think different. President Trump. Make America great again. The point here is to find words to help define who you are. Keep it simple, usually 2 to 4 words, because you want to be memorable. Think different, open happiness, go further, just do it. I'm loving it. Can you hear me now? While these are corporate taglines, you can take this and flip it into your own personal brand. So how else can you define your own personal brand? How about writing a book on the auction profession? How many books have been written about the professional auctioneers? I looked it up on Zoom or on Amazon the other day, and there's 0. I couldn't hardly find anything on the auction profession. Now, did a little research. Of course, here's Pam McKissick, wrote this excellent book on auctioneering your home. Here's another book on selling real estate at auction. My point here is don't be afraid. You can stand out in your community. I even wrote a book, put my picture on the front, just so people would remember me. There's a famous saying, you will never rise above the image you have of yourself. You will never rise above the image you have of yourself. That's a powerful and meaningful statement. Another way to increase your personal brand presence is through advertising on billboards. Okay, kind of expensive, but you know what? There's a lot of people that do it. Placing your photo and a name and your name is always effective. Here's John Morgan. He's a famous legal attorney here in the Orlando, Florida area. Here's Dan Newland. He used to work for John Morgan, and he figured out he could do the same thing just by putting his picture and some of his results on his advertising. Now let's talk about your niche. You need to find what it is that your competitors aren't providing. Personal branding is not about being famous. It's about being selectively famous. It means knowing who needs to know you and being visible to them. Here's an important point. You've got to be consistent. The most important thing you can do is to be consistent in your message the first time you make contact with a customer. Learn to tell your story. Personal branding is about expressing your authentic self and making you an active partner in creating the direction of your life. Now, here's one of the best books I've ever read on branding. It's called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. I'd recommend this to everybody. Grab a copy of this. It is phenomenal. So now let's talk about education and how you, as an auctioneer, can stand out. The National Auctioneers Association has several professional designations that you can earn. By earning these, you can then use these after your name, just like a doctor or a lawyer or a CPA. It says to the world that you have received the education, the training to be knowledgeable about certain subject matters and asset classes. It says to your client, I abide by a code of ethics, take pride in my work, and continue to educate myself so I can serve you better. CAI, CES, MPPA, CAS, GPPA, AARE, AMN, and BAS. Now, here's an example of a business card using the NAA logo and the state of Florida logo, CAI designation, and a few more things. Now, here's my brother Randy. He lives in Lincoln, Nebraska. Many years back, he took a photo of himself with his auction topper and clerkmobile, his CAI designation, and here's the bottom of his sale bill where he shows the photos of all of his staff, including the NAA logo, the Nebraska Association logo, tagline, Your Mid-American Auctioneer, and his company logo, and the number of years that he's actually been in business. Many auctioneers use their professional associations in their advertising. It says to the public that I am an active member of the professional associations. It's again another example of personal branding. Use your affiliations to stand out. NAA, National Auctioneers Association, your state auctioneer association, NAR, your local realtor associations, maybe some of the community associations that you're a part of. Point here is you have to take charge. Your personal branding is all about you taking charge of your own future and learning how to manage your own identity. Personal branding sets you apart because you identify your different, use those differences to make yourself memorable. How are you going to make yourself memorable in your community? It's not that hard, but you just got to apply a little time, energy, and effort to the process. Now, when a consumer learns of your name, they will, like 9 times out of 10, look you up on Google. And what do you think they're going to find? Will you appear on the front page? If you don't, that's a problem. You need to be on the front page of Google. Find an SEO person and let them help you get there. Worth every that you pay them. Now, let's talk about social media and digital media. What better way to reach billions of people almost overnight? It is the cheapest form of personal branding you can find. Look at this, Facebook, 2.23 billion people you can reach every single day. YouTube, WhatsApp, Messenger, WeChat, Instagram, LinkedIn. Now, you don't have to have all of those. In fact, if you just focused on Facebook, look at the large number of people that you can reach in a very short period of time. And I know it's all this new social media stuff, but it's not going to go away. And it is the cheapest form of advertising that's out there today. Now, how about professional auction groups? And you've seen all of these. The National Association Facebook group. There's 979 members in that group. All you have to do is go on Facebook and look under groups and find this particular logo, and boom, you can join that group. Here's the Auction Champ Facebook group. 2.8 thousand members that are in there. Auctioneers Facebook group, 5.1. Contract Auctioneers Facebook group, 1.9 thousand members. Competitive auctioneering, 1.6. See, you need to be seen in these groups and take part of the discussion. You've got to get out of your comfort zone and start participating. The goal is memorable. So I put down title, what's your image? Do you have glasses on your forehead? What kind of clothes do you wear? Do you wear a certain style of boots? What's your messaging, your attitude, your actions, your values? What's your social footprint? Is it your hat? Is it a chant? Maybe it's billboards, maybe it's business cards, but you've got to do something to stand out. What about logo merchandise? A lot of companies do it. Here's one from Mecum. Here's one from Ford Brothers Auctioneers. Here's a t-shirt. For most people, it's a combination of things that help you build your personal brand. As we wind this up, don't forget that building your own database of email contacts is critical to your success. You need to be able to contact those people who are important to you. Stay in touch with people. Email is the easiest way to do that. Finally, make sure that you have a lead funnel system to attract people to your personal brand. Here's an example of what a lead funnel would look like. Kind of put it together here. It starts at the top of the funnel where you're bringing people that are not aware of you into your circle of influence. So they're unaware of your business. They're just starting to learn about you. And then they become a lead as a person that you're not engaged with yet at that lead level. And then there's the prospect, which is someone who has expressed an interest in your auction business or your auction services. Ultimately, hopefully they become a customer, someone maybe that you've done business with. And then at the bottom of the funnel, they become a fan and they start telling other people about you and your business and your services. It's part of a lead funnel system. It's not complex. It's really pretty simple, but somebody's put it into a nice, beautiful looking item here. Consistency is the key. Create a daily routine. Create a calendar of how you're going to market yourself on what days, how you're going to do that. Build your content. It all starts about what is it that you know something about and how can you deliver that content to people through your different social platforms. Focus your message. Don't try to be everything to everybody. And then finally, know your audience. If you don't know who you're going after, it makes it really hard to hit that particular target. Now remember, for things to get better, you've got to get better. For things to change, you have to change. As a professional auctioneer, you are already very unique in your community. Use that uniqueness to your advantage. Building a personal brand is a lifetime journey that can start today. It's never too late. Remember, you are the message. It's been an honor to present today. I will be presenting at the NAA Conference and Show in New Orleans on July 9th and the 13th. We have a new salesmanship course that's being currently developed, and I guarantee you, you won't want to miss this course. You want to be one of the first people to actually attend this particular course by the NAA. That's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Personal branding is so important. Brandy, I'll turn it right back over to you.
Thank you, Craig, so much. At this time, we'll now open the floor for questions. If you have not done so already, you can submit your question in the panel, and we will do our best to get to as many as we're able. Craig, our first question is, how do small auction companies who just sell everyday type items brand themselves without the use of a larger corporate entity?
Oh, very good question. It goes back to many of the things that we've talked about today, but it's really about building relationships within your community. You have got to get involved. You have to volunteer. You have to be a part of helping with benefit auctions, being involved in your church, getting people to know who you are. I think that I look back 25, 30 years when I was involved in my family business. I think my dad was probably the most trusted person in town. People came to him with all kinds of issues. He was a problem solver, but people trusted him. So if you've got a small business and you're just trying to get it off the ground, you got to get out of your comfort zone and go talk to people, and just use social media. I think that's the other big thing. It's free. It doesn't cost a lot of money. And if you don't know how to do it, find some young person in town and ask them to help you. It is so easy to put these things up on Facebook and LinkedIn and just really get your name known. I think that's one of the best personal branding things that you can do.
Now, when it comes to trying to come up with how you're going to brand, how important is it to use your personal name versus your company name? Do you have a preference?
I do. In fact, the answer is both. First of all, I want to get started. I got to know who I am first, and I've got to do that personal assessment that says, who's Craig Fleming, and what's he good at? What's he have some skills at? What does he have some expertise at? So I want to know what I can do, and I want to start by doing my own personal branding, and then kind of in parallel with that, I want to brand my auction business, because I want people, when they see me, I want them to think of our auction business. And so it's like that. It's got to kind of be in parallel, but I would always start with yourself first to really understand who you are. And then, as you figure out who is your primary audience, then you can start to craft your messaging to be able to resonate with the people that you're going after. So start with yourself, and then almost at the same time, start with your business building activities around your branding of your company.
Okay, and I think we have time for one final question. Are there any pitfalls people should watch for when it comes to managing their social presence as far as their personal brand?
Oh boy, that's a great question. Yes, there are so many things. When people are interested in you and your services, and they go to social media, and if they see stupid stuff on your personal brand pages, like what you had for dinner last night, all the things, I mean, it's just crazy, the stuff that people put out there. Think about your audience. You're a professional auctioneer. You've got to make sure that you brand yourself and your messaging to what your client wants to see. If I've got 60 acres of land that I'm trying to sell, and I'm in a kind of a dire state, and I need to turn this into cash instantly, and I look on your Facebook page or your business page, and I see a whole bunch of goofy looking things that don't have anything to do with a professional appearance, I'm going to pass you by. So make sure that you keep it crisp and clean and professional. And yeah, it's okay to let people know about your family and your kids, but just make sure that you're not putting things up there that are not professional.
Thank you, Craig, and thank you to everyone who submitted their questions. We apologize if we weren't able to get to yours. It's now time to give us your feedback on today's session. Please see the poll on your screen and answer the questions as they appear. We'll move fairly quickly, so please answer as swiftly as you're able. On a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest and 1 being the lowest, how would you rate today's iSeries presentation? I'll give you a couple more seconds. All right, and we're going to move to the second question. On a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest and 1, or with 5 being very likely and 1 being not at all, how likely are you to recommend iSeries to a friend? Okay, and the last question. I plan to attend conference and show. Yes, maybe, or no? Thank you for taking part in today's polls. Before we end today's session, we do have some updated information on upcoming NAA events. Registration for NAA's conference and show is now open. This includes the new auction sales class that Craig will be leading. You can find out more about this event in New Orleans at conferenceandshow.com. As we close today, you'll get a replay of today's session through an email link by the end of the week. Additionally, if you're an NAA member and have missed any previous iSeries sessions or would like to hear them again, iSeries archives are available at auctioneers.org/iSeries. You do need to be a member to get access to those archives, so just make sure you're able to log in. And finally, an iSeries programming note. Your next webinar will be Wednesday, June 5th at 2 p.m. and we'll explore benefit auction law, a session you won't want to miss. We'll send specific information on that in the near future. Thank you again to Craig for sharing his insights today, and thank you to all of you for taking part in the NAA's iSeries. That concludes today's webinar. Have a great day, and remember that the NAA iSeries exists because it's all about you.